Hello, the world. This is They Will Kill, a true crime podcast. I'm Sadiak,
And I am Courtney-ek.
and we sure are happy to be here today.
Heck yeah, talking about my favorite thing tonight.
What is it?
TikTok.
Ooh, my favorite thing too.
The only social media platform I have ever loved is TikTok. I'm calling this the murder that TikTok solved, the devastating case of Daisy De La O. So on May 26th, 2021, a woman named Rebecca Fuentes uploaded a video to TikTok of a photo of her friend Daisy, and then a series of photos with a, quote, young guy with shoulder-length shaggy black hair and tattoos across his arm and torso, with the caption, quote, on February 23rd, she was murdered, followed by the caption, quote, TikTok, do your thing and blow this up so we can find this asshole.
Oh, what year is it?
2021. This
Okay,
just happened.
recent, yeah.
This just happened. The woman who had been murdered was Daisy De La O, and she and Rebecca, who was 20 at the time she posted the video, had been friends since they met as freshmen in high school just outside of Los Angeles. 19-year-old Daisy had been stabbed to death and then wrapped in a carpet and left outside of her apartment complex in Compton. Almost no media outlets had reported on the young woman's murder, except for an LA Times article and a news report that referred to her as a, quote, Latina Jane Doe. She was never a Jane Doe. Everybody knew who she was immediately.
I just hate it. It's like, might as well just be rolled up garbage in the carpet.
Yeah, precisely.
According
we don't
to
know
the
who
media.
she is. We don't know who she. Yeah, no, her family's right there. They were there immediately, like within an hour of her being found. She had been found by her apartment building manager, who reported that he didn't think she lived in the complex, which she did. And the general response outside of Daisy's friends and family was almost non-existent.
Well, why does it have to be this way, Courtney?
I know, and she's this gorgeous, creative, vibrant, like 19-year-old girl. Super beautiful, different color hair, super artsy. Like, this is a bright, bright light. This is a young woman who was murdered, stabbed to death, and then left in front of her apartment complex. And everyone's like, oh.
Yeah, can you imagine? I think about that a lot as a white woman, that we're just inherently cherished by our fucking bullshit society.
Yep.
And that would never happen.
Never.
To us.
No.
And how it's just disgusting. It's infuriating.
We're going to talk all about it tonight, Sadie. So before her friend's death, Rebecca had used TikTok like every other 20-year-old and mostly posted dance and lip-syncing videos, but had also watched a lot of true crime videos and knew what worked to get people's attention. She posted that video late at night, and by the time she woke up the next morning, her phone was blowing up.
That's amazing.
Amazing. TikTok has been used recently to bring massive awareness to cases like in the case of Alyssa Tierney, who disappeared in Phoenix 20 years ago, and her sister Sarah Tierney has been doing a phenomenal job of bringing awareness to her case and pressuring law enforcement to finally arrest her father, Michael, for Alyssa's disappearance. She was often seen wearing a hoodie that said, quote, trained detective, as a jab at the Phoenix Police Department, who she feels didn't adequately investigate her sister's disappearance. If you want to,
so badass.
So badass. And I haven't listened to her podcast yet. It's definitely on my list, but she's incredible. She's incredible. She was like, oh, hell no. My dad is not getting away with this. Amazing.
It's amazing.
There's also the incredibly famous case of Gabby Petito's disappearance that was essentially solved on TikTok, which still gives me chills when I think about it, while simultaneously drawing attention to the fact that when pretty white women go missing, the cases get millions or billions of views. But when brown or black women go missing, the media rarely lifts a finger to bring their killers to justice.
Mm-hmm. There's a little aside. It was actually on TikTok today that something I never thought of. Anything ancient, like the pyramids, or if it was built by a brown person, we decide that aliens did it.
We don't believe it's true.
But if it's any other, like the Greek Colosseums or any of the other stuff, of course the the white people, those
Figured
cultures
it
were
out.
able, smart enough to build it. Never, you would never see that on Ancient Aliens.
It's
And
so
I never
true.
thought of it. It's so true.
Yeah, and their buildings were so much more advanced and make so much less sense than ours. So we're like, clearly
Nope,
aliens.
not possible.
And they're like,
Yeah.
no, dickheads, we figured this out a long time ago.
Yeah, we were
Very,
building
very long time
computers
ago.
and shit.
Yeah,
Idiots.
we invented language and math and everything.
And Jesus and all of it.
So the TikTok app is extremely efficient when it comes to disseminating information to a very broad audience, which is very helpful in spreading awareness, but can also backfire if the information isn't accurate or it interferes with an investigation. Not to mention the court of public opinion, which can be incredibly damaging, especially if a person is innocent. Quote, there's obviously a risk to the investigation. Could they interrupt or interfere with the investigation? There's a risk to the amateur sleuths themselves. What if they're dealing with a dangerous predator, says Tracy Tambora, a criminologist and domestic violence expert who teaches in the Criminal Justice Department of the University of New Haven. There's also a risk for the alleged perpetrator. What if the individual is actually innocent? So Rebecca's video started to gain traction, and a lot of commenters expressed frustration that they hadn't heard about the case, even those who lived nearby to where she was murdered. Other people commented that they would keep an eye out for her killer, and some claimed to know him and where his family members lived. Daisy De La O lived with her mother and her two brothers in Compton, where they moved after her parents got divorced. She worked at a CVS while she took classes at East Los Angeles College and saved up to buy a car. She was studying business administration and hoped to open her own beauty salon someday and provide tattoo and makeup services. She had a rough time in high school, so her family was thrilled by her path and how hard she was working to make a life for herself. Quote, Daisy was freaking awesome, you know? She knew how to choose her friends, her mother said. She was young, naive. Which one of us hasn't chosen a guy who's a loser?
All of us.
Yes. And real quick, I totally forgot to shout out that I relied heavily on an article called A Murder Solved in DMs by Jennifer Swan for The Cut. So I need to bring that up real quick. And my friend Jessica Funaro recommended it. So thank you, Jessica, for listening. Yes, every single one of us. Every last damn one of us. So her mother was referring to Daisy's ex-boyfriend, Victor Sosa, who Daisy had met on an app when she was 15 and he was 21.
No.
The couple lied about his age, but her mother became concerned when she saw the tattoos covering his arms and knew a teenager couldn't have that many tattoos at their young age. And he looks like a emo skater kid. I mean, honest to God, aside from his age, if my child or my nephews bring home somebody who looks like this kid, I would be pumped. I'd be like, yes, I did it right. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not the age, though. Big no. But
No.
the way he looks, I would make a lot of assumptions that he was just like a gentle, sad, cute, creative kid, A few months after the two had started dating, Daisy's mother noticed, quote, scratches, bites, and bruises on Daisy's body. But Daisy was embarrassed and wouldn't tell her mother what had caused them.
Oh, no.
Yeah, just a couple months. The violence only got worse over time, quote, Salas's youngest son, Nathan De La O, recalls physically intervening when Sosa attempted to strangle Daisy at their apartment one day when Salas wasn't around. Another time, Nathan says he was lying in the bunk bed he shared with Daisy. Nathan was on the bottom bunk and Daisy in the top bunk with Sosa when an argument broke out and Sosa physically attacked Daisy and Nathan had to intervene.
He's doing this in front of people?
In front of her brother. Just a couple months after they started dating.
What is happening?
Yeah.
That's
How do you
so awful.
have that much crazy rage at 21 years old?
I don't know. Well, and bites. That's so...
So
yeah.
So intense. Well, and get this. Daisy's brother also claimed he saw Sosa hit Daisy across the head with a skateboard in front of their apartment.
What?
Yes. That's
Courtney.
like attempted murder. Hitting
Yes.
somebody in the head with a fucking skateboard that's a deadly weapon. It's assault with a deadly weapon.
Yes, it is. 100%.
Quote, she was embarrassed, Salas says of the incident. She was such a mature, rough girl that for her, that was embarrassing that she was getting hit by this person, you know? Especially because she never saw actual physical violence between me and her dad.
Oh, yeah, I hate it.
Salas took her daughter to get stitches later that day and tried to report the incident while in the hospital, but authorities refused to start a report unless Daisy actually accused Sosa of the attack. Her mother said, quote, I went to a police station in Compton and they told me the same crap. Quote, you cannot make a report. I'm like, she's underage. She's a minor.
I was going to say, she's a child.
Yes. You don't need the teenager to fess up to it. If a mother is saying my child is being abused, that's a report.
CPS.
By an adult. Exactly.
Especially if she's dating this man. Like, just the fact that they're together is a
violation. Yes.
Yes.
It's a crime. Yes. A lieutenant at the Compton station responded, quote, we don't know that a report wasn't taken. It may have been. She could have been confused. To which I say, fuck you. A mother is not confused about whether or not a report was taken toward the safety of her child.
No.
He also said, quote, in general, we need a victim to have a crime report taken, a cooperative victim saying a crime happened. Or a de facto fucking adult saying that a crime happened
pictures
to their
of
child.
Seriously, she had to get stitches and like,
Yeah. Yes. A crime clearly was committed and their guardian is claiming it was this person. So just write a fucking report. Her mother said, quote, I want to at least make a record that this happened since the two freaking police departments are not helping me. She remembers thinking, quote, I had to do something. She followed up by trying to report the attack to the LA County Sheriff's Department as well as the department where her daughter went to school in Huntington Park. The Huntington Park lieutenant said that there's a, quote, gray area when it comes to reporting domestic violence cases involving minors.
I just can't sit still. I'm like so, I have to do a little jaw massage. I'm clenching my teeth.
Yep.
And gonna start punching my computer.
Yep. If a minor declines to provide a verbal statement to investigators, it's difficult for them to pursue a charge, let alone determine whether a crime has taken place at all. Is this true? I mean, this must be true. They went on the record saying this, but I just cannot believe that this is true. You know, in general. It just seems crazy. It's crazy to me.
I don't know. It's insane.
I feel like you could find a way to press a charge when it's dealing with a minor. Right. Domestic violence or otherwise, just be like, okay, well, we're not going to call it domestic violence. Like, this is just violence. This is a child getting beaten up by an adult man. Like, regardless of their relationship to each other.
Yes.
Like, what? If anybody who had reported that, if a school reported that, if anybody reported that, it's a crime. I just... Doesn't matter if they're lovers or not. Like, give me a break.
No, it should matter more. Like, not that it would matter more, but, you know, it should have...
Yes.
It definitely have as much impact. Like, you know?
Yeah. Her mother also appealed to the administrators at Daisy's school who interviewed her brother Nathan, as well as Daisy, who denied that she'd been assaulted. She eventually broke down, though, and said that she had been attacked by Sosa, and as a result, he was banned from the school campus as well as her apartment complex.
Call the police back.
Call the police, school. Don't you have your mandated reporters call the police also and say, we got a confession, we need to investigate this further.
How old is she at this point? Like
she's
16?
15. Yes.
Yeah, 16.
She's a tiny baby. I mean, maybe she's a little older, but yes, she's a child. She's a teenage child. Unfortunately, Daisy continued to see Sosa until around a month before her body was found.
Oh.
Daisy admitted to her mom that she'd finally ended the relationship, and Salas said, quote, inside of me I was jumping up and down, but I couldn't show it because teenagers are just so weird, you know? My 7 and 4-year-old nephews are so weird I can't show, like...
No, it happens so fast. All of a sudden, it's like, ooh, I'm now, you know, trying to hold my oldest's hand the other day, and he kept pulling it away, and I was like, oh right, I forgot. Okay, we're cool now.
We're cool dudes. We don't show emotions and stuff. She also said, I honestly think that she had broken up with him so many times before, but this time I think she really didn't love him anymore. I really believe it. And I think that's one of the main reasons it happened.
I think about that age and, this is like her beginning,
Yes.
like,
yeah. She's trying to cut ties with the guy she knows is no good for her. She's got plans. She's got goals. She's got a job. She's like ready to go. She knows what she wants to do. She knows she has a talent for makeup. She's very creative. She's smart. Yep. And it was all cut short because some fucking kid could not stand not being loved by her.
Or controlling her.
Right. All of the above. Correct. She said that on February 22nd, Daisy got an alert on her phone and Salas happened to see that it was from Sosa, who said that he had something for Daisy. Daisy reassured her mother that it was nothing and that she wouldn't be gone very long, and then headed out to meet her ex.
No.
Daisy hadn't returned by the following morning, and her mother was disappointed because she assumed Daisy had reconciled with Sosa and spent the night with him.
I hate it.
No, so much. Later that morning, she got a call while she was at work from a police detective asking her if she knew where her daughter was because they'd found the body of a young woman.
I just got so many chills.
She immediately knew Sosa had done something horrible to Daisy. She had a friend drive her home and, quote, I was a wreck, you know. She rushed to her apartment complex, which had been cordoned off with yellow tape. Quote, where's my baby? Where's my baby? Where's my baby? That's all I kept saying. Where's my baby? She said, not, quote, nothing, zero. And I was like, where's my daughter? Where's my kid? When I turned around, I saw a body bag. I collapsed and started screaming.
Oh, Mama.
You know. She doesn't remember much about that day or the days and months after, but she does remember, quote, Detective Ray Lugo with the LA County Sheriff's Department pulled her aside and said, quote, I promise you, mija, we're going to catch him. Salas says, and honestly, I looked at him and I'm like, bullshit. It's a Mexican-American girl. Who's going to care about her? Ugh, which makes me, like, just that hopelessness, just that feeling of, you just know. Like, you just know nothing's going to happen. They're not going to treat your family or your daughter with the same respect they would treat a white girl.
I can't deal with it.
Hopelessness. Daisy's friend said she didn't like to talk about her relationship and hadn't told them about the abuse. Rebecca said she had suspicions that Sosa would get physical if Daisy broke up with him, but never suspected he was capable of so much violence or murder. Another friend said that the reason Daisy likely met Sosa the night she was murdered was that, quote, Daisy's also not the type of person to leave a person hanging. If a person was doing bad, she would check up on them. Even if she tried cutting ties, she wouldn't do it completely because she cares too much. Despite the fact that it was pretty clear that Sosa was the one who had murdered Daisy, weeks went by and authorities failed to bring him into custody, which infuriated her loved ones.
I cannot believe that.
Like, right away. This is who she went to see. I saw the text message. He beat her. I tried to follow. Like, he would be in custody in 13 seconds under any other fucking circumstance.
I can't believe that. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I can totally believe that this is real life, but it just feels
beyond belief.
Yes.
It just feels
that this is possible and it's the norm. It's so normal that her mom knew nothing was going to happen for her daughter, her precious daughter.
Yep. Compton is often referred to as the unsolved murder capital of Los Angeles County, as almost 2/3 of the murderers in the area get away with their crimes. Compton is majority black and brown, and, quote, they half-ass everything, especially in our communities, says Jasmine Garcia, who was one of Daisy's friends. Quote, this is where the abolish the police comes in. Everyone's always talking about, oh, you need the police, they prevent crime. No, you fucking don't. They always come when it's too late. They don't protect shit. Then they always blame the girl who went out, the girl who cared too much, the girl who was so naive. Amen, Jasmine. 2 months after Daisy's murder, police still hadn't announced that Sosa was a suspect or appealed to the public for help in finding him. The lead detective on the case said, quote, "There was doubt. There was always doubt. We can't be wrong." There's always doubt.
It's called investigating.
He's a suspect. Yes, you can announce him as a suspect when you're pretty sure he's a suspect.
Courtney.
He argued that the department did not have witnesses, at least at first, and that the residents of Compton tend to be uncooperative with police, which is gaslighting.
Seriously,
And what do you think they're uncooperative? Because you don't do anything. You're not protecting them.
Oh my God. I'm having serious rage problems over here.
No, I know. Quote, "Unfortunately, a murder investigation is not a movie, and it sometimes takes a little time," which is so condescending. Like, please go and fuck yourself.
Seriously. So it's the witness's fault for not talking. It's the public's fault for being impatient. It's the victim's fault for being alive.
Yep. And the reason why it takes a little time is because we can never be wrong, ever. And if we're not sure, we have to wait. And in this case, that's what happened. That said, there are plenty of instances of white women being murdered in the area and a suspect being swiftly identified, like the case of Brianna Kupfer, who was stabbed at work, and a suspect, as well as a $250,000 reward, were posted just 5 days later, and the killing had been completely random. The lead detective on Daisy's case said they simply couldn't move forward more quickly because the video footage from the apartment complex wasn't clear enough to confirm that Sosa had been the one who dragged her body in front of the complex that night. You could still find him and ask him questions.
I was going to say, have they questioned him?
No.
No.
Oh they couldn't find him. Like, they waited and they couldn't find him. Regardless, experts say that it's absurd that Sosa wasn't immediately identified as a suspect as, quote, "the most dangerous time for a woman in a domestic violence relationship where lethality increases is at a point of breakup," says Tracy Tambora, who previously trained police departments on how to respond to domestic violence and sexual assault. Mm-hmm. The quote continues, she maintains that she, quote, "did not witness police having the same desire to solve domestic violence and sexual assault cases as they did drug cases, homicide cases, and robbery cases." She added, "If the police think the individual left the country, for instance, and we've got a victim who comes from a poor family that isn't going to get the DA's office a lot of pressure, the police might have decided, we're going to pursue this, but we're not putting tons of resources into the pursuit," she says. "I think this is where you see class rear its ugly head. Is the victim's life worth the pursuit financially, emotionally, physically?"
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. But yes, but
right.
there is a checks and balances within the departments, I'm sure, and they are just weighing those for their own personal gain, and we all know who loses. So 4 months after Daisy's murder, police finally released Sosa as a suspect. 4 months. Mm-hmm. And 2 days later, Salas's cousin, Noemi Garcia, called Salas with some news. Garcia had started a Justice for Daisy Instagram page around the same time that Rebecca Fuentes posted her video on TikTok. Garcia had been sending promising leads to the detectives on Daisy's case, but none had gone anywhere until that morning. Daisy's mother said, quote, "She's like, Susie, I'm going to send you something. I need you to tell me. Is it him?" When she sent me the picture, I was like, fucking shit, it's him, it's him.
Yes, we did it. High five, everybody.
The quote continues, "In the photos, Sosa, who had a mop of bleached hair, sat at a table strewn with beer bottles, a cigarette balancing between two fingers. Not only had he apparently not been in hiding, but he was out and about drinking and smoking at Papa's and Beer, a popular tourist bar in Rosarito, Mexico." Salas was aghast. Quote, "Seeing him so relaxed, it did something to me, honestly," she says, "with a cigarette, enjoying the music, you know, that really drove me crazy."
I cannot even, no.
No. You're grieving. Your whole world has been just ripped to shreds, and he's at fucking Papa's and Beer. Mm-mm. The image was pulled from a video that someone who worked with Sosa sent through the Instagram page. Salas immediately sent the images to the lead detective, Detective Ray Lugo, and called him to tell him about the break in the case. Get ready to get mad again. Detective Lugo denies ever seeing the images from Instagram and claims he received intel from a Mexican police force which led him to Sosa himself. Quote, "Our information came from a different source. I know she didn't know because I had to tell her," Lugo recalls. Quote, "I told her, Susie, just relax. We know where he's at." But, quote, Lugo previously told the LA Times that the tipster who alerted Rosarito authorities had recognized Sosa's photo from social media. It's unclear which social media post he was referring to. So, multiple problems here. A, she's calling, freaking out, being like, I found him. And he's like, calm down. I already found him, according to him.
Right.
Which is like, if you already found him, why
Where is
am I
he?
telling you about him? How do I not know that you already found him? And B, the intel, regardless, the intel came from social media. If he's correct and somebody saw the social media and then recognized him and then told Rosarito police and then they told Los Angeles police, regardless, social media and these women like tirelessly posting and getting the word out when the media and the police would not is why he got caught.
Well, and I mean, like, God, the amount of ego on that detective.
Yeah, don't tell me to relax. It's been 4 months. He's been out and about partying this entire time. You haven't done anything to get the word out. It took you 2 months to release Sosa as a suspect in the first place. So a day later, on July 2nd, Sosa was arrested and is being held in Los Angeles on $2 million bail. His mother testified against him at his mother testified against him
Wow.
at his preliminary hearing and said that he'd bowed his head when she'd confronted him about the murder. Rebecca Fuentes says, quote, "I believe he would still be out here if I didn't make that video. The only reason he got caught was because someone recognized him from the videos we were making." Salas is incredibly grateful that Sosa is in custody, but dreads learning more about what happened to her daughter the night she was murdered. She's also working overtime to keep her mind off of what she'll have to face and to also save up to be able to miss work to attend the trial for her daughter's murder.
No, Courtney.
Which is not something I've ever thought about before because I've not had to think about the financial ramifications of your daughter getting murdered.
Oh, God.
But people have to do that. Quote, "Thank God for social media, honestly," she said, sighing with relief. "I've heard so many stories of parents who are still waiting for the person to get caught. There's no one that's a suspect, and thank God I have that." One tiny last detail is that there was a 13-year-old boy who came forward to testify as a witness that he saw Sosa walking around Daisy's lifeless body on the ground on the night of her murder, just in case there was any question about whether or not Sosa did this.
Wow.
And that is the devastating murder of Daisy De La O and the TikTok saving the day and the Instagram. But I'm going to give the credit mostly to TikTok because I like it better than Instagram.
Wow. Did they have a GoFundMe up to help cover any of the funeral costs or?
Yep, there's a GoFundMe. So if you go to the Justice for Daisy Instagram, it started 2 days ago, and there's $55 out of 2,500.
No, Courtney.
Yep. So we'll be donating to Justice for Daisy.
Oh, that's gonna make me cry.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got to go. Everybody, please, let's go and donate to them.
Yep. Help these little darlings. Yep. So donations will go to Susie and Nathan. Ugh, God.
Ugh.
Good call on that. And also, I'm surely there's funds that can help, like the families, the parents of murdered children to take off, or like just victims' assistance to be able to take off time from work to attend the trials of the people who take their loved ones. That's not something I want to think that people have to do, but of course they have to do it.
Of course they do. No, please, let's go, everybody, right now. Do you have $2? Please
$2.
just go. Yes.
We will give them $35,000.
I wish
I don't
we
have
could.
that. If I did.
know, God.
Yeah, we'll give them a little chunk of change.
We'll definitely be donating. So please do so also if you have it. We'll
Yep.
link it in all of our social media. And
Yep.
sounds like her story needs to be spread for sure.
Yep.
Oh,
Darling.
man.
Little sweet darling girl.
What are we going to do, Court?
Brains. Got to get the brains together.
Yeah.
Do that brain rally and get everyone to start using them. Then
Seriously.
be like, brains, I don't know what you got to do to get your vessels to get on board with using you, but they're not doing it right. You know, when you're dealing with this dissemination of information at like the craziest, most rapid pace. I mean, we post a video on our TikTok and we get like 10,000 views like immediately.
Yeah.
And people following us. I mean, it just gets out there so quickly. And that's great. I mean, as somebody who is creating content and wants to connect with an audience, that's fabulous. But at the other side of it, you know,
Imagine
I have
if
to
we
be
were making...
really careful on TikTok.
Right.
Yes, because
Yes.
I was just hanging out with my friend Esther this morning, and she's on like multi-dimensional like alien TikTok, which I've been on, and it is spooky over there. You get there
it gets
really...
real weird real fast.
Yep. And so if you're not mentally well, it can go terribly wrong. On the other hand, I love technology for its ability to disrupt things and to, you know, like how TikTok, they can mobilize so quickly to get, you know, things done. Like Russians weren't seeing images from Ukraine. And so people on TikTok were like, go on Russia's Google Maps and Google and go to like museums and like really popular restaurants and put reviews with photos of the war in Ukraine, you know, just thinking of brilliant things like that and telling them what's going on through their Google restaurant reviews, you know. And it's like,
amazing. So the Russian people who couldn't see what was happening.
Correct.
That's
correct.
So smart.
Isn't that brilliant? And TikTok
Wow.
did it. You know, they're just like finding loopholes, which of course Google like immediately closes and Russia figures out how to close. But in the meantime, you get to Trojan horse that shit through technology.
God, yeah. I know it could be used for good. We just have to figure it out, you know.
Yep. We are simultaneously capable of tremendous good and tremendous evil. And so
yes,
we need to prioritize people over money a little bit more in this country. And by a little bit more, I mean 99% more than we are currently doing it. Because we are doing it very wrong and we are destroying ourselves and each other and the environment as a result.
What was the GoFundMe page again?
Justice for Daisy on the Instagram. Go to their Instagram.
Okay. And then they'll have a link to their GoFundMe. Oh, $55 is not enough, you guys. We gotta go help them.
Let's get them rich AF.
Yeah. Oh, man. I hate it.
For watching, though. I hate it too.
Bye.
Bye.
We love you. Goodbye. I'm too sad.
I know.